Zainab Ibrahim is a female Muslim wrestler from Umpqua Community College in Roseburg, Oregon. She's loved wrestling since she was a child, ever since she saw John Cena and wanted to be the next John Cena. As part of her Muslim faith, modesty is something she regularly works with. So she wears Under Armour compression sleeves and pants, and usually practices and wrestles in a two-piece with a shirt and shorts combo. That has worked well with her career at Umpqua Community College and with the National Junior College Collegiate Association, which is the NJCCA. However, currently Zainab is so good, she is trying to wrestle with USA Wrestling, which can in turn go on to the Olympics, and United World Wrestling, which are the gatekeepers to the Olympics. USA Wrestling does not have a rule that she cannot wear her Under Armour compression sleeves and leggings, but USA Wrestling does lead into and open up the chance to work with United World Wrestling, and they do specifically have a no modification rule. Because of last year, when USA Wrestling qualifier Latifah McBride won and placed, but was prohibited from actually competing in United World Wrestling, UWW's competition, because she refused to change her two-piece. She would not, for the sake of her Muslim faith, compete in anything but what she had been wearing. Because of the no modification rule that has been trickling down from United World Wrestling, talented Muslim wrestling women like Zainab and Latifah McBride are being prohibited from going on any further.
Right now, at the beginning of the season, I don't really have challenges with UCC's wrestling. Our team here is amazing. My coaches and my teammates are very supportive. Before coming to college, I used to wrestle with a singlet and with compression shirts and leggings. But I saw another Muslim girl who wrestles in fight shorts and a shirt, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I decided to kind of switch to that as well. And when I told my coaches, they were fine with it. They ordered me that same day. But the problem I'm having with women's wrestling right now is I wanted to compete for World Team Trials in Spokane, Washington a couple weeks ago. And they basically told me that if I wanted to compete, I would have to take off my leggings and my shirt, but I could keep my hijab on. And the problem with that is I wear my hijab for modesty reasons because I am a Muslim woman. And being Muslim, we care more about, we really care about modesty. And when I was, if I was to take off my leggings and my shirt, my thighs and my arms would be exposed. And I remember calling them and asking them if I could get a private weigh-ins because I was like, hey, your rule says that I have to wear a singlet. I'm fine with that. I wore a singlet before. I don't mind it. I would prefer shorts, but I don't mind wearing a singlet. Can I just get a private weigh-in? Because I am cutting down weight. Because at the time, I think I was 136 and I was wrestling 130. And I was trying to see if that was okay. And they kind of just said, we'll get back to you on that. And then a day before we were leaving to the tournament, my coach pulled me aside and he said that the only way that I would be able to step foot on the mat is if I was to take off my shirt and my leggings. And I was like, well, for obvious reasons, I can't do that. So I didn't get to compete. My first initial reaction was wait, what? And then I'm like, you're joking, right? And then he's like, no, I was just on the phone with Natasha and she just kind of told me. And then my coach was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do I want to do? I obviously can't take my clothes off. So I was like, I obviously can't go. And then he's like, yeah. And then I remember walking out of the gym and going to the girls' locker room. And I called my club coach first to see, because he's also one of the main reasons I'm wrestling in college. He's the one that kind of pushed me to it. And I remember calling him and telling him what happened, and I was crying. And then he said he was gonna call me back. He's like, I'm gonna call somebody. And then I called my mom, and when I called my mom, I was like, hey mom, do you know the tournament I was telling you about this weekend that I was really excited for? And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, well, they're not letting me go because of like my leggings and like my shirt. Because initially I talked to my mom first before wearing the singlet, because I used to wear the singlet and my parents were okay with it because that was the only like form of modesty we understood with the singlet, and how like we can like arrange around that. So when I started wearing shorts and a t-shirt, I feel like my mom was more at ease with me wearing that, and I was more at ease as well. So when I told her I was wearing a singlet again, I kind of asked her for her permission, and she said that she was fine with me. So I was saying like, hey, like now they're saying like I can't wear my leggings and my shirt, like, but I can keep my hijab on. And she said, well, that's nonsense. And I was like, yeah, it is. But yeah, and then she just kind of told me like, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, like I know you've been working really hard for this and I'm still proud of you. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? And then she just kind of told me, she was like, don't go, like don't go, because it's like if you go and I was to take off my leggings and my shirt, she said like, because when I first wanted to initially start wrestling, the main concern my mom had was there was nobody that looked like me who did it. And she said like, who, like, she's like, nobody who looks like us does this, like it's not common, don't do this. And if you are gonna do this and you're gonna be like, you're gonna obviously be like the representative in the face for other little girls who can look up to you, but you do understand that you're gonna be the trial and the error, like you're gonna have to face like the doors getting slammed on your face, and I don't want that for you. And I was like, nah, mom, we're just talking, like what are you talking about? So like she was just kind of like, don't do it, it's not worth it. Like she's like, just put everything in the hands of God. God is the one that allows you to do what you do. God lets you live, and he's the one that like can take that away and stuff like that. So she was like, don't put your religion on the line for it, because if you take off your leggings and your shirt, like what's next? Like you're getting, as soon as you cross that line, they can ask you to take off your hijab next, and next thing you know, because you already like crossed that line, and since you're already there, you might as well keep crossing it. So she just kind of was like, don't do it, and it's not worth it.